Hi, this is Kevin with Naples Lawn Service, and today we're going to be talking about how to hook up the drive shaft on your John Deere implements from your John Deere 3025E tractor. Okay, so the drive shafts I'm hooking up today is for this FL1061 John Deere Frontier Flail Mower. Okay, and the other drive shaft I'm talking about is, this is a rotary tiller 3042. So these are the two drive shafts that are identical that we're talking about hooking up today. And by the way, you might want to check out my video on the John Deere iMatch. Okay, this is the fastest and easiest way to hook up any of your implements. It works with most things, but it's like a, I don't know what it is, $400, $500 option, whatever. But I would definitely have this, because what happens here now, all I got to do is back up and I'm going to hit this bushing and this middle one. I'm going to back up, lift up on those, put these back down, and I am hooked up. So check out the video on the John Deere iMatch. Okay, so we got this drive shafts here. As you can see, we got tiller, flail mower, we got the post hole digger over here. So a lot of these things require hooking up the drive shaft. And first thing I want to tell you is always hook it up with this chain. If you're outside, you can't just let this thing fall down and sit in the dirt or the sand or the snow or whatever for months on end. It's gonna rust up and freeze up, so your check balls in there. So always make sure you chain it up like this, so it's not setting on the ground. Okay, so in here you got two little check balls. Okay, you got it on this flail and you got it on this tiller. Uh, this is the tiller right here. And when you slide this back, okay, those check balls are going to snap or unsnap. And if they're all locked up because you've been letting it set out a while, or they're just corroded over or whatever, they're not going to snap in. You're not going to get that drive shaft on there. Okay, so lots of times you're trying to hook up this drive shaft and it's going on, but it's not snapping, and you get really frustrated wondering why this thing is not snapping onto the spline. Okay, so this is where your drive shaft hooks up. There's usually a little rubber boot that stays over here to keep this clean. You take that rubber boot off when you're not when you're ready to hook it up. So when you're not using it, this rubber boot should stay on there, okay? Then when you're ready to use it, you're gonna take it off. And then I'd either use regular grease or lithium grease, but go ahead and put some of that on there. That's only gonna help it to slide on and off a little bit easier. You could also put some on your tool. And a good thing to do with this, so you don't lose it, you just put it right over here in your glove box until you're ready to put it back on. All right, so you want to pull this back, okay? This has got to pull back so you can get in there and spray those little check balls. If those check balls are stuck, then this thing is not going to snap on. We're going to spray this with WD-40 inside and out, because we want to get those check balls moving freely before we try to hook this thing up, or you're going to be really frustrated. So the first check ball's in this spline here, and you're just gonna, it's like spring action. So I'm using this little T-tool. It fits in there good, and you can feel that going in and out, that little check ball when you go like this. Okay, so that's what you're trying to do, trying to free that up. Okay, so this little check valve here, check ball, needs to move freely. Once it can move freely in and out, then this one and this one, once they move freely in and out, then they're ready to snap on there. But you may need to spray some WD-40 in there. It just helps them to snap, because when you're trying to shove this thing on, if those check bulbs are not moving, it's not going to go on. You're going to get frustrated. All right, this needs to be able to move all the way back like this. If it can't move all the way back, the check bulbs are not going to slide in and out, and it's not going to go on. So make sure this freely moves all the way in and out, and the check balls are working before you try to hook it up to your spline on your tractor. Okay, also wouldn't be a bad idea is put a little bit of lithium grease up in there, help you get that thing on, and any of these parts that slide. Okay. All right, at this point, wouldn't be a bad idea to throw some grease in here too. Seeing as how you probably don't have a regular maintenance schedule on that inside this joint right here. So there it comes, it's coming out. As soon as it starts coming out, you're good. And I'm going to demonstrate on this tiller because we got a garden to till up. So we're going to demonstrate on hooking up this tiller with the eye match and then putting your drive shaft on. Okay, so before you hook it up, unhook this chain, lower this thing down, just set it on a rag. That way your eye match will be able to slide underneath there. All right, this chain just want to get out of the way, so I just flipped it back and we'll just hook it into itself there so it stays out of the way. And you're all hooked up with your implement. Now we just got to do drive shaft. Okay, now we're going to get these stands up before we forget. And I'm just going to raise them up and put the pin back in. Okay, now it's time to snap this drive shaft on here. And this is where you already did all that work with the WD-40 and the pins. Now it's going to slide on there. Got to make sure that you line up your splines. All right, now you may need to push on these teeth a little bit so that drive shaft turns, because if those splines are not lined up, it's not going to work. So just give this a up or down to try to move those just a little bit. I just shoved on these, just move these like a 1/2 inch or 1 inch, okay? Either way, just to turn this shaft so these splines line up. If these splines ain't lined up, it's not going on there. So you got to get down here and move these tillers just a little bit, 1/2 inch or 1 inch one way or the other. Then it's going to slide right on. Okay, so you can see it sliding on now. But you might need to jiggle it a little bit just to get everything to line up and snap on. There. So it went all the way on, it snapped on, and that's what you got to do. So basically, make sure your splines are lined up. If they're not lined up, get down here and move your tiller blades a little bit till it lines up. Put your safety cover back on. Thing you'll do is you get this hanging bracket, you'll take that off of where it was, and you're going to bring it around here, and you're going to hang it up on this other side. There's a little bracket right here. You're just going to hang it right on there, and it's just going to snap right in there. And that's how you're going to stow that hanging bracket. And there you go. So there you have it. That's how you hook up your drive shaft. And if you like the video, like it. And we're going to have a lot more videos coming out if you want to subscribe to Everything John Deere.